My friends, you are going to love this. This is going to debunk the spinning ball. It's definitely going to debunk the, oh wait, spheroid, but it's also going to debunk the entire ball because you'll see. They say we live on a rotating sphere with 1,000-mile-per-hour rotational speed at the equator. And as you go up 10 degrees from the equator, let's say up toward the North Pole, it drops to 900 miles per hour. And you go up another 10 and it's 800 miles per hour. And another 10, it's 700, so forth, all the way up to the North Pole where it's essentially not even moving, right? And so they say there's a 14-mile high bulge. That's twice the height of a commercial airliner. This is rock and dirt and everything. It would be everything. I'll get to that in a minute. It would be everything, you know, clouds, air particles, and a lot more. Okay, it would all shift, and the poles are essentially just collapsing. They're just filling the void, right? So the ground that was shifting and moving, piling up 14 miles high, is packed, right? It's packed up with dirt. And so here's the big takeaway from this. The fact that the ground has stopped moving, yet the rotation is still going. So the ground has filled in as it's all moved toward the equator, and it reaches a point and it stops. It's packed up, it's filled in all the voids, right? It's filled in, and this is where they'll say, well, that's why we're in equilibrium, P-Brane. Well, no, because nothing has changed for us. The rotation that has caused the ground right below our feet to move and shift and to the equator and pile up 14 miles high is still going. This shows you right here, this is a complete fraud, a complete utter joke. Neil deGrasse and his, oh wait, spheroid, complete joke. The rotation is said to be sustaining and holding this in place because, to their own admission, they say when the Earth rotated faster, the bulge was bigger. Now that it's slowed down a little, the bulge receded. It's a little smaller. They're shooting themselves in the foot with this one. I love it. Thank you, Neil deGrasse Tyson, for reinforcing this nonsense. So, again, the ground below us, the only reason it stopped moving is because it's piled up and it stopped. At this speed, that's as high as the bulge will get, and that's as far as the ground will slide down. As per Newton's law, an object in motion will tend to stay in motion at a constant speed and in a straight line. And remember, everywhere on a sphere, on a rotating sphere, except for the equator, everywhere else, all the other latitude lines, is a turn. And the turn gets more severe as you go toward the North Pole. The speed slows down, but the turn becomes greater. So you have water and everything wants to go in a straight line. Us people would want to go in a straight line. This is what we would look like. We would look like tumbleweeds on a windy day out in the Nevada desert. We would all be blowing. Everything would be flying towards the equator. We'd be piled up just like the ground is below us. And this is right now. They say this is right now. The Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour. This sphere, this is such a joke. It is so busted right now. And all these tumbleweeds would be akin to being stacked up at the equator. Right, from both north and south, people, everything on the earth would move. Don't believe that? Well, I'll try to convince you with this. Here's a spinning water balloon and a spinning soaked porous rubber ball. So the water can freely fly off of this ball. The balloon is holding in the water, of course, right? But it's bulging. Now, this would be akin to the ground on the earth. It's bulging, but it's not falling apart. It's just bulging and flattening. We would be the water and everything on the earth, right? So as this starts to spin and bulge, once it started to bulge, it's already way past the water flying off. We're all doomed. This is just to show you what a hoax this is. That if you have water on the outside of this balloon, it's long gone. Before it even bulges, as you can see, just as I start rotating the rubber ball, the porous rubber ball on the right, the water starts to fly off immediately. Right there, it's gone. It didn't even get up to speed yet. But it doesn't matter. The balloon is going way faster, but yet it has a skin to hold in the water, right? And the reason it moves to the equator, as I've said, is the Earth wants to turn left out from under it. As per Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, everything wants to move in a straight line and wants to stay in a straight line. So as the Earth turns, that's why you would theoretically have this equatorial bulge. But it's not real. But if you did, again, the ground is currently spinning right now underneath us, but the ground is done moving, kind of like this water balloon. The water is stacked up inside there. It's pressing against the walls, and it's done moving. From both poles of the water balloon, it's moved into the center, and it's not going any further. You could just have a steady rotation there. But the stuff that's free to move on the outside of the ball that lives on this balloon is gone. Do you understand? We cannot be rotating, sustaining, the ground sustaining this huge bulge, 14 miles high, and the poles flattening, and us on the surface not experience. Don't you see? This is physically impossible. This is not a reality. It can't be. It's fake. That's all. Let's go on. The hardest thing I've had to do is try to explain this and even get it straight in my own head. It's been very hard. That's why I was silent for like almost 3 months. I didn't put a video out because I've been struggling with this. But when I got this, it's because the ground has stopped. Oh, but we are on the ground. We haven't piled up against each other. We're not all at the equator bunched up. We would have to be. All the water, look at this still water like a mirror. This is busted. Oh, man. I hope you guys get this. I imagine I'll keep putting videos out on this just because. So give this a thumbs up right now, please. And maybe I'll come up with more graphics and stuff like I normally do in videos. Give this a thumbs up right now. Share it with others. Watch it more than once. Come on back. It's a short video. I'm going to end it like right here. So that's it. What's the takeaway? Is that this bulge that they say is right now 14 miles high all around the equator, and the poles are squashing in. Again, the poles do nothing. They're just filling in the ground that's voiding, that's vacating out and moving up 14 miles high at the equator. All that ground has to shift. And so now it's stopped shifting, not because the Earth has stopped rotating, but because the ground is packed up against itself. And so it's stopped. So that's it. The fact that the ground has stopped, yet we're still on the ground, we're still on the rotating ball, the same rotating ball that moved all this rock and dirt and piled it up 14 miles high on the equator and shifted it from the poles all the way up to the equator. We're still on that ball. The same force that moved all that stuff is still here. Nothing's changed, except for the part where all the dirt and rock has reached its limit of movement as far as it can go, yet we're still under that same force that has done that and is sustaining that, yet we're to believe, and we're told, we're gaslighted into believing we're living on the surface, no problem. No, we would be stacked up at the equator, same as all the dirt. Busted! Gaslighting, fraud alert. Woo, woo, woo. All right, my friends, I hope you enjoy this. This is a game changer. This is a huge part of their ball. I haven't looked up, but everybody's told me, besides Neil deGrasse and modern physicists, they said Newton came up with the bulge. So this goes way back. This is, if you debunk this, oh my gosh, now sky's the limit. Just the whole thing has to come into question, right? So, woohoo! We did it, folks. All right. Thank you, and stay tuned.